The ABB FIA Formula E World Championship moves away from Japan to Italy. The first step on the European calendar in this 2024 season. The Misano World Circuit di Marco Simoncelli hosts round 6 and 7 of the 2024 10th season of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Welcome to the qualifying hour to decide the running order ahead of the first E-Prix. And we're all set to go as well for what's going to be a very entertaining race. And alongside me, up here in the commentary box to begin with, is Jess Ball. JT's in the pit lane. Hopefully we might hear from Ed Hunter as well. But we're a few minutes away from qualifying, Jess, and this morning in practice, we saw a lot of drama, especially for Nick Cassidy, who made contact with Sam Bird, trying to make avoidance coming to turn 14, got on the grass, went straight on, hit the barrier. Delighted to say that Jaguar have repaired the car. He'll be out in qualifying, but it is a little bit worrying that traffic is an issue at this track.
It's always like this with Monza and Mugello and lots of other Italian tracks. So Misano is no different. And it could be an issue, especially in the last few minutes of the heat stages when they're trying to get through to the duels. Drivers want to be the last out because the track conditions are better towards the end of the lap. But you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have time to do your lap. So that is going to be interesting. And also, there could be red flag situations like we saw in free practice 2 earlier. So they've got to get their laps in nice and early, but they can't afford to mess about because otherwise they'll be out of the qualifying session.
Absolutely, and qualifying coming up as well will be split. Remember, 300 kilowatts of power for Group A and Group B. The top 8 from both sessions, so 4 and 4 from Group A, Group B, they progress to the duels, and then we'll have quarterfinals, 4 of those at 350 kilowatts of power, 2 semi-finals, and then the final as well, where 3 points will be decided for pole position. Arguably, the favourite coming into this looks to be Jean-Eric Vergne, fastest in both practice sessions so far. DS Penske seems to be going well here. He said yesterday, I like it here, and he's liking it this morning in what was, as we said, a disrupted session.
And the thing about this circuit is it's not like the other circuits on the calendar where the drivers have been in there more than once and they have a feeling. It's the first time that FE have been at this track, the first year. So the only chance that people would have had was through potentially the simulators. So it's going to be an even playing field. And we know that Jean-Eric Vergne likes those tracks where he has a bit of an advantage already, and maybe in the simulator or somewhere else as well. So I think it's going to be good for him as well. Van Dorn was looking good, obviously, in free practice 1. Dropped down a little bit in free practice 2. McLaren's maybe looking good as well. And Verline's still in that top 10 range, so he could still get up there as well. And just because you start on pole for qualifying, it doesn't mean you win the race. So I think it's going to be interesting tactics going into qualifying, but a brand new world for all FE drivers. There are some people that have driven it before in other series, but not the FE layout, so should be interesting.
Indeed it is. 3 minutes until the start of the session. Let's head it down to JJ.
We had a bit of drama today in FP2, guys. Nick Cassidy having to kind of run off the track.
They're talking exactly what we did. That's original.
How did you see that, Karoom? Because it was nearly quite a serious incident.
Yeah, I think it's an effect of running out of sync. There were other people on slow laps, as we're seeing up ahead here. He was on a fast lap, which clearly those other cars weren't made aware of. Sam Bird was the last of the McLarens. He actually moved over to the right, which he thought he'd squeezed Cassidy off the track, but I think he didn't realize Cassidy was already heading that way from earlier on. So it's an effect of running out of sync, but the reality is the cars on a slow lap need to be made aware that there is somebody on a fast lap. It's their responsibility. If you're going slowly, you need to get out of the way, because there will always be people going quick, and Nick was the innocent victim there.
I think you can see by Nick's reaction, he seems apologetic, to an extent where he's talking to James there. But we had some interesting radio as well from Sam Bird, which we can have a listen to here, because he was blaming someone else essentially for what had happened, David.
Yeah, well, look, any driver that's
Let's have a
running.
listen. He's going to come up now so we can hear what he says. Sorry.
No, lock the fronts into the chicane. Lock the fronts into the chicane. Our traffic management needs to be better, Laney. I've just shunted Cassidy off because I got no information that he was on a flyer. I was told everything's fine, everything's all good.
How about we talk about this after? Calm down. We're going to take the flag.
Well, look, Sam's taken it on himself, but I think as Cruz already highlighted, there was the two Penske cars, one well offline, the other one a little bit more, let's say, online, which is why Nick was a bit wide as he came out of turn 13. And I think that has all led to the fact that he's then found himself on the grass by the time he gets to where Sam is. I just don't like to, and I get it, it's part of, you know, getting yourself ready for a lap, but I just never like to see cars driving slowly on the racing line. There's no place.
And we're going to interrupt with some breaking news that we've just received, and Jess has got it as well. Jess, just before qualifying even starts, we've got big breaking news. What have you got for us?
Well, it's interesting that there's two teams in Vision Racing and Jaguar are not allowed to take further part in this weekend's Misano E-Prix, both rounds, until they can provide proof of their cars being in compliance with the that word.
Homologation.
Yeah, that word. So that is going to be interesting. Obviously, you've got Mitch Evans as well, and Nick Cassidy, and of course we've got Robin Fright, and I can't remember who the other one is as well. So unless they can get the evidence done ASAP, they're not going to get any further part. And big points for these two teams lost.
Robin Fried's going out in this first session that's coming up shortly as well. So the green light's going to go on in a few seconds' time. We'll get going. But this is big news. We'll see as the green light goes on exactly who ventures out onto the circuit here. We'll get going. But wow. JT, what do you make of it?
Chaos. Absolute chaos. So that's fine. Remy. Then the Jaguars of Evans and Cassidy, as you said. Of course, we saw in practice 2, which we just talked about Cassidy going into the wall at turn 14 due to traffic management.
Yeah.
And you heard the radio message from Sam Bird as we're green, Josh.
Yeah, green light's on. Qualifying's underway. So they are not taking part. This is big. As they come out onto the circuit. It's a long lap here, as Jess said yesterday. It's 3.382 metres. Oh, well, between it, kilometres.
Meters?
It says
kilometres, I was going to say.
3.382 M, which is kilometres, not miles. Virtual engineer says out, push, call, push, because you can't really box on this lap. It's a proper road course circuit. So we'll bring you up to date, but apparently Robin Fried is out on the circuit. That's what we're getting here. So
I wonder if it was just rumours.
Well, is he out on the circuit itself in car 4?
Yes, I did see an individual.
Yeah.
I did see an individual out on track.
What I'll do, Josh, is there should be Stewart's document somewhere. I will have a look at that. I'll let you take the rest. I'll have a little bit of a wonder.
There will be indeed on the timing results page. I know you've got the link for it, so we'll have Jess sent down and keep a look out for it all as this session gets underway. A total of 10 minutes remain in this qualifying session. Group A, of course, will head out there as we're just getting the driver track operational so I can actually see. Go on.
Got it.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Ed said he'll eat some breakfast and hop in halfway through. So Ed will join us very soon.
Sounds good. We've got the situation in the box ready for him as well. So let's take a look. He's put it in the chat. There we go. Yeah, so this is not looking great with this. Josh T, what have you got then for this information document that you found?
Dropping them in Manners' channel.
Excellent. So we'll
take it's pretty much. Oh, so that was way before we go.
Still out there.
Robin Frights and Buemi.
Buemi coming through. So that's the other two that can't. Frights is out there on the circuit. We're seeing him now on the circuit now. Excellent. So we'll see. Go on.
Oh, so that was. Oh, that was way before we go. Robin Frights and Buemi.
Buemi coming through. So that's the other two that can't. Fright is out there on the circuit now. So no sign that
I'm going
unless
on the. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the FAA website.
surely they
That's
know.
what I'm going to do.
They know, don't they, that they're not allowed to be taking part unless they've proved them homologation and it's very late on the deck. Who's Ed? Ed's been here Ed's been here longer than Josh T. Rome, a couple of years ago, yeah.
Longer than any of us.
Ed was the original co.
Style of race where we expect a lot of, slipstreaming, saving energy.
He is the big co of the Formula E. Whenever he's around, we get him in.
No sign of anything on the blog that I was double checking as well. But let's check the opening times here. Jean-Eric Verne, fastest on a 1:18.513. Van Dorn is second. Fenestra's up to third. Pushes Gunther down to fourth. Verline fifth. Championship leader in trouble. Drew Roulette, Frines to Costa to Grassi. And then out of it, no so far is Roland Seta Kamara. So is he
Still
often?
race control, they're saying green flag and nothing. So they might have proved it, you never know.
Yeah. George saying, so is he here often? I didn't see him when I've watched over half a year. He's been here in the Formula E's. Yeah. Ed is the main Formula E co-commentator. He wasn't with us in Tokyo. Oh, wrong camera. He wasn't with us in Tokyo, but he was, because it was too early, so he couldn't commentate. So that's why we had Jack Pickering in alongside. But Ed does a lot alongside us here.
Looks like the Jaguar side, the Envision side of things has been sorted.
No Jaguars in this session. Both Cassidy and Evans will be out in the next session. But interesting enough that Cassidy had that crash and now has to prove homologation again. But for both of them to get it, it's a bit of an alarm to me that they're going to say, okay, you can take part, but you've got to prove it first. Here's Fenestrazi on the replay into the last corner.
They might still be allowed, or they still might be allowed to take part, but they'll get probably disqualified from quali.
Yeah, maybe it's the race itself they're not allowed to take part in, but because they might prove it, they're letting them qualify. That's an interesting factor. If they're qualifying under appeal, maybe. That's always a possibility to remember, that they've got the right of appeal. So maybe that's what they're going to do. They'll head out there. Buemi runs with the Jaguar powertrain, so it finds out this session in Vision. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's no Jaguars in this session. They're both in Group B. It's Oliver Rowland that's in this session, who hasn't set a time yet.
Yep, and that's in the Nissan in 11th position. Sete Kamara still in the pits after his problem this morning, but he has set a lap of a 1:19.814, so that is great to see. But he's 1.3 seconds off the pace at the moment. Frines first sector's personal best, second sector's best of all. Verne is fast in that first sector, 27.657, so he's coming up there. Frines out of the last corner, boots it up towards the line, goes all four wheels off the line. Race control really not keeping across of that, but he does a 1:18.360 across the board. Verne in P2, 1:18.513 as things stand, but his middle sector is looking good and should put him up as he comes out of the last corner, gives it the welly, and Verne to the front with a 1:18.070. Van Dorn looking quick just behind. Does he improve? No, stays into third position, 4 tenths down, and lost a lot of time in that last sector.
We got, I think, the two Maseratis that just came across the line as well. Gunther, who won last time out, is in third fast. He's only a few 9/100 slower than Pascal Wehrlein, so those two looking tight. It's a replay from Da Costa, who's found the grass once again. Another example of what not to do with the track limits. And we get a bit of a close-up on the floor as well. A bit of dust has come through as well. Interestingly, that Roland hasn't gone out yet, so I wonder if he has a problem.
He is NC on the board. Has he come out on the driver track yet? He's out on the driver track. One more with him now. So this is Da Costa in the Porsche, but behind is we're seeing Roland.
And then also 27 was not great. 27 not great.
So Roland is ahead of Fenestraz on the driver track, coming down towards turn 8 and 9.
Oh yeah, it is saying on the time is now that he's out on track. Okay, cool. Just check him.
The two Maseratis taking it out there. In fact, everyone who's got a teammate in this session are going out there together to give each other a slipstream and try and get each other into the duels. But Jean-Eric Verne has to go through this session. He's top at the moment, 118.070, 10th and a half faster than championship leader Pascal Verline. So we were expecting him to have some updates coming through. Fenestraz is P7 as he's into the back half of the circuit now. As now we see Roland coming up. There's Fenestraz just behind. Roland in front. Roland going to tow Fenestraz for a lap. Surely it should be the other way round. I'd say to get a lap time there as they head down towards turn 1. Interesting.
I think that is going to be interesting if you want to give the tow who's going to get the best track conditions. And we know with these sort of situations, you're not going to get all of your team into the duels, I don't think. So I think you've got to find out which driver may have the best chance of doing so or may need a little bit of help, as we've got both the Nissans out on circuit with Oliver Roland and Sasha Fenestraz. Roland, again, being very consistent in the last few rounds, of course, doing well in Tokyo and doing well in Sao Paulo as well with some brilliant moves. Sao Paulo stroked to me saying that he's back in business and he's finding a home in these Gen 3 cars. He's purple set to 1, Josh.
Little bit of a touch, though, coming through turn 7 exit into 8-9 chicane. Gets it stuck down, jumps over the curves. Rear almost slams into the barrier as well. Roland really is pushing it as hard as he can. SHD says, do you think Roland could get his first ever race win in Formula E this year? Well, apparently he's been called a Max Verstappen talent.
He's already won.
He's won, yeah. But his first this season, yeah, it's a possibility. But Roland has already got a victory before. First win with Nissan could be an option to come through. Into the last corner. Boots it hard. Roland up to the line. And is it a fast time? It's P3 on the board. It's 1:18.332. Fenestraz stays in P6 though, Jess. So slight differential there.
Breaking news. Both teams have proved that their cars are in compliance with the homologation and they are allowed to start the Mazzano E-Prix. So, good news.
Fantastic that was proved quite quickly then. A little bit of drama before qualifying. Yeah. Everybody likes that. But, yeah, good stuff that it's proved quick because that's the last thing we need is to have that sort of overshadow the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, ERT's tripping over each other.
What's happened there? No, that was at Cooper, Josh.
Oh, so that's Degrassi and I want to say, yeah.
No, there was one of the ERTs and one of the at Coopers.
So it was Degrassi and Sergio Setikamara. Change your livery. There should be a rule that the two teams cannot run identical liveries.
It's confusing for me. I've just had an interesting point came up on the world feed. The tyres are at its best and the best temperature on their second push lap. So we may see people going out on 2 runs in these final part of qualifying, Josh.
Yeah, we haven't had them come through, have we? Verline, Gunther Freins, Van Dorn, Da Costa Druvela, they've all come back out on the track again now. They've done a normal stint of coming into the pit lane halfway through the session and going back out again. But those who've stayed out, Verline, Roland, they've been pushing hard and the car has been responding to them. So is the tyres. And Verline now on a push lap after a double cool. So they should be better this time around. Keeping them in motion. That's what these Hankook tyres like, is to have the pace and determination and grip as he comes through turn 8. Runs it a little bit, I say turn 8, sorry, turn 5. It's because I'm thinking of the MotoGP layout. I commentate too much at this circuit on MotoGP, because that is, to me, turn 8, not turn 5. So I'm having to readjust because we've changed the first 2 corners. It usually looks like a J, this track. Now it looks like a T. Checkered flag is coming out. Oh, look, Halo on board. That's a new one. Regen brake.
That's the first time we've seen.
About time, actually, as well. That Formula E join Formula 1 on the Halo. 212 kilometres now in the braking zone. They are the same. They are getting up there with Formula 1 speeds, which is insane to think, Formula E, because they don't make a sound, but they do get up to the same speed as Formula 1. So the fact that we're going to Grand Prix style circuits are great, but they need to improve the battery life, which is what Gen 4 is going to be. Over the line for Verline with the checkered flag out and stays in second position, but with the fastest third sector. He was 3/10 down overall as I come across it. What about Roland? Roland goes third. He stays there. Gunther coming fourth. Oh, that's why Gunther lost at that time. He's on the grass. Massive tank slapper coming out of the last corner. Fenestrans across the line, doesn't improve. Vern is improving sector 1, 1:18.062. Good improvement there. Moves to 8/10 up on his previous best lap time. Van Dorn's out of it. Fenestrans we knew. Gunther might lock himself in. Friends goes into 5th. Da Costa coming across soon. Degrassi goes 6th. Here comes Jeruval up to the line. He stays. Well, Gunther goes 4th. Jeruval stays in 10th. Is he coming to the pit lane? Yeah, Jeruval is coming to the pit lane. There goes Da Costa in P7. And Sete Kamara stays in 11th place after his instance this morning. So the Maseratis that were running together, Jeruval boxed and allowed Gunther to keep 4th place. So nobody improved on that last run. Vern, Verline, Roland, Gunther, the 4 that go through. Friends, Fenestrans, Da Costa, Degrassi, Van Dorn, Jeruval, Sete Kamara out of the session. What do you think? And this is Roland, Jess, coming out that last corner.
Yep, it was, and it's just about that final corner where you're trying to get advantage, and he just lost a bit of control there. Van Dorn, I have to say, was the shock of the session for not making it through. But apart from that, the drivers I was expecting to get through into the duels have gone through to the duels, so it should be interesting for them. But Van Dorn, the biggest surprise.
Good lap time as well from Vern on a 1:18.062. Continuing his performance in every session we've run so far this weekend, he has taken the top spot. What do you make of that session, JT, watching in the pits?
Yep, it was a good session. A little bit of a mistake there, quite a big off there. And to follow up on the speeds and acceleration we're getting to F1, the Formula E Gen Beta car is faster 0 to 60 than the current F1 cars. They broke the record, so Formula E is now faster by 0.11 seconds to F1 cars. But that is the modded Gen Beta car, not the Gen 3 car.
It will be different when it gets through later on as well, and I really hope they stay the same. That would be insane. So, Cassidy...
Yeah, 2.49 to 2.6.
2.49 seconds. Wow. It's just insane, these speeds. They do not stop delivering, do they? My phone is crying at me that I've got too many photos on it, so I need to go through it before we do Donington, which was already the plan. But I'm just writing out the previous session results as well. So, Cassidy, Dennis, Evans, Bird the next session, along with Buemi, Hughes, Nato, Muller, Mortara, De Vries and Ticktum. They're heading out next. Who do you think will be the 4 to progress from there then, Jess, coming through?
I'm going to go with Buemi, Jay Dennis, Cassidy, and I don't know about the 4th one. Probably Mortara, I think.
Good pick there.
Those are the. It could be. It is the open group, George. The first group was not really a surprise apart from Van Dorn. The second group, there's a lot of strong names. We will see some big names being knocked out. So I think hold your horses, because my prediction's probably going to be wrong.
What about you, JT?
Top 4 for Group 2, is this?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
That is a good one. I think Cassidy.
Yeah.
But then again, as you said, it's an open group. Cassidy, Dennis. Then I'm going to go Bird. And then just to throw it in, it's going to be Buemi, because Evans is in a Jaguar. And yeah, we don't know if they're out or not.
They said they've passed homologation, so they should be. But again, you never really 100% know what's going on, do you? That's the problem.
Is Cassidy's car? Oh yeah, Cassidy's car's repaired, right? I can see one of the Jaguars anyway. I see both of them now.
Cassidy and Evans are leaving the pit lane. So well done to the Jaguars. They've got that sorted ASAP. And we are all set then for Group B of the ABB FIA Formula E Championship. Yep. From Mazzano, round 6 of the season, round 7 coming up on Sunday. Don't forget it's also Grand National Day, so get your horses picked if you're in the mood in the UK.
Same time as MotoGP free practice 2.
Yeah, whose idea was that? Thanks though to Josh T, who's going to make sure that we get off on well with that one. And then I'll run in as soon as the race is over, unless I'm winning, and then yeah, champagne time. So
you'll probably say it's champagne time.
To be fair, I'm not going to say it because it might jinx it, but it's gone quite well in the past 5-6 years. The Grand National. Well, I don't know who's going to win. Although, actually, it is... Oh, okay. Actually, I know who's going to win the Grand National out of the family. Let's hear from Jay Dennis.
Chatting with Andretti earlier. Focus on getting those fronts in. Reminder from Porsche, it was their second push. And it's the feeling of the braking. Okay, so Dennis then being told that there's 2 pushes. Roger Griffiths watching on. Can always spot him. The team principal, Dan and Andretti, watching on. Now having to look up at the monitors. I always think it's cruel that they, when they gave him the chair one year, they gave everybody else normal, like, high-legged chairs, and they gave him just a normal chair, and he was tiny, because he's a small chap. But I just find it quite funny. As Cassidy comes through. Was that some virtual graphic advertising boards I just saw there from Formula E? Because there's a strip across the track.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah. I don't know how they did that, but no thank you. Not on the racetrack, thanks. That looked great at the start. Buemi, Sector 1 is a 27.797, so he's got that first delta. Cassidy's improved, 27.769. So the 2 Jaguar powertrains trading places in the sectors as they come into the 8-9 chicane at the backstretch. Brake hard, turn in. They've done very clever with the chicane because there is actually a corner there in MotoGP, but they've just straightened it out a little bit to make it into a corner. As Buemi second, sector 24.4. But I tell you what, this is great from Jake Hughes in the McLaren now has taken sector 1 and sector 2. Hughes is really flying.
Jake Hughes, Josh, was looking very good in practice. In practice too, he just seems to be at home with the track, and these were the similar conditions to what we saw we're going to see in qualifying. So not really that surprised because Hughes was doing well this morning.
NATO's under investigation for a technical infraction. Hughes to the top, though, in that McLaren, as it is a 118.161. Cassidy second. Third for Evans, across the line. Bird goes into 7th. Cassidy is going to have a company with Muller now going third across the line. That's a great time from the out Cupra, 118.551. But Jake Hughes, 3 tenths ahead of anybody else at the moment in the field. It's just insanity. Is across the line. There goes De Vries in the Mahindra into 9th position. His teammate Edo Mortara ahead of him in 8th position. So let's take a look at different. This is Jake Dennis. What's he done? This is the last corner at turn 14. Turns in. And he's going to get caught on the curb, I think, Jess, and get run off on that grass. It's a tricky one.
Similar to Roland,
Yeah.
I think. It's going to be the similar situation to Yaps. Not quite. He just cut a little bit.
There's our top.
Not as bad as Roland.
Radio?
No, no.
Okay, that was a good lap. Currently P1, purple all sectors.
Let's use his radio. Purple all sectors. You are very good in that McLaren. As they search after a second win this season, and Jake Hughes searching for his first win in Formula E. Bird, of course, won in Sao Paulo with that amazing outside manoeuvre. As Mortara continues to push, sliding out the rear. How much of a problem have Mahindra got as well? And he's boxing. That's how much. Mortara into the pit lane. A second off the pace at the moment after a personal best in Sector 1. Oof. Mahindra are just becoming... Yeah, go on, Jess.
That's not good for Mortara at all. And he's down quite a bit compared to the likes of Evans, Bremy, and Muller, who are kind of like in that bubble, as it were. But I'm surprised Bird hasn't gone out yet. But we've seen Roland took a while to get out in the first session, and he still got through. So I think maybe Sam Bird is leaving it to a little bit late. He doesn't want to put his eggs in one basket just yet, as we're seeing NATO out on the circuit, setting personal best so far in the first sector. So is the other Andretti teammate of Jake Dennis.
And Dennis
And we're
is...
seeing it now.
Yeah, Dennis is under investigation, Jess, for technical infraction. So that's him and NATO. So both of the Andrettis are under investigation for a technical infraction. Interesting developments here in qualifying. So we'll keep an eye out. And they've been called into the pit lane. So, okay.
Oh. So, did their cars not make it for choking?
Well, you say that. What have they done with the technical infraction? What have they done wrong? By the way, Jeff Dodds, who's the CEO of Formula E, has said that it's unlikely that we're going to see a TAC charge in Season 10, which means we are not going to have it here in this weekend on the Sunday race as we were expecting. And to hear more from Jeff Dodds, you can tune into the Formula E Zone show, the FE Bar, on Wednesday for all of the action in the evening. And Ed Hunter will tell us more about that as he now joins us in the comms box. Good morning, Ed. How are you? Welcome to qualifying.
You're mute, Ed.
And we can't hear Ed. But we'll sort that quickly. He's got his hands up going, I don't know either. It's a new comm box. That's the problem, is it? Oh dear, he's disconnected. Hopefully it's not like the new comm box rules and that he can't talk. We haven't tried them yet.
No, the mute button.
Yes, because of tyre pressures. We're all good.
Go on, Jess.
The mute button didn't appear for Ed, so...
It may be on like Ed's actual headphone.
Yeah, so it's a headset problem. We'll get him in a second as
Because
yeah.
the perms are set up correctly, because I've just double checked them.
Right. So hopefully we'll get Ed back shortly. We'll wait for him to join. We'll stay on the battle cam for now. As we take a look at Cassidy. What's he done? Jumps over the back of the circuit. Oh, he's cut the corner massively, Jess. Huge corner cut.
That's got to be an infraction, surely.
Yeah, it's inside clear corner cutting. I can't believe they're going to let that one slide. Oh, same mic issue as having the other night, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
I feel your pain there.
Was that the other time when Ed was joining you or something like that?
It was yeah. No, it was when we had the manager's chat conversation the other night. He joined us to go through the schedule.
Okay.
So yeah, not great there. He might fix it. We'll wait to see. But when we meet 3/10 down at the moment, Cassidy is off as well. But they're both improving in that first sector, setting best sector times there. So they'll change it again. And who do you think? Hughes still, I think, was the big surprise. Still not as fast as the time that we saw, though, from a certain Jean-Eric Verne, who was a 1:18.0. So Verne has got time around this track that nobody else has, as Boemi goes into fourth. What about Cassidy?
Remy looking very good, but very tight between himself and Mitch Evans. We've got Cassidy on a run, and he's perhaps best in the first sector. He goes up to the line. We've got Jake Hughes, who's purple in both sectors and stays top. 17.8, Josh.
Oh, that's a better lap time. Best of the weekend so far for Hughes. Evans P2, Cassidy third, Muller fourth. Bird gets dropped out to fifth position with 2 to go. Buemi P6, Tinctum 7th, Mortara, De Vries, Dennis Nato. Dennis and Nato's times have been deleted by the stewards. Dennis and Nato's times deleted by the stewards. They are set no times in this session. So whatever the technical infraction is, the stewards have kicked them out of this session. They have not set a time. And they're out on the track now to do another one. 1 and 17, yeah, so they're going to have to go again. Here they are. So what happened there, I don't know. But Ed, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay. Some of the tricky bits.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a concern.
Dennis is back on track.
No lift. So what was this technical infraction that the stewards are so impartial about? We're watching him on board now, but very rare to take it completely off as we welcome them to the comments box and the camera. Let's take a look. Oh, when he touched the barrier, rear right, getting a whack at 8 and 9 chicane. And he clipped the curb on entry.
Ooh.
If we see a red flag and it's because of that chicane, I will be very annoyed. We don't need the breaking point regen zones. The track has enough of those anyway to regen power. Oh, and that's
We'll
Dennis.
see come the race, won't we, Josh?
Yeah. Hello, Ed. How are you?
Oh, good, thanks. I can barely explain the crazy adventure that I've just been on, so I'm not going to.
Everyone, we all battle mic cables and microphones. It's the bane of our lives.
I just had to restart Discord for some reason. I think I just had the tab open way too long, and with the billions of other tabs in the background, I think my computer just sort of
yes.
stopped working properly.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway, seems to have been sorted now. And yeah, so many technical infractions today. First it was the whole Jaguar thing, and now this for the Andretti's. So it was deliberately like Formula trying to impose rules that nobody understands to
They wouldn't do that.
alienate its audience.
Would they do
What's
that?
left of it.
Are we in
No,
for
no, I
another?
don't think so.
We're in
I
for
think it's
another
just fine.
Valencia, aren't we? Where everyone's just crawling to the line. Nick Golding
Oh no, I
described
think it's
it
more
as-
going to be like Portland, isn't it?
Yeah, Nick Golding described this as a litmus test as to what we're going to see this weekend. As Cassidy goes through, takes over the curbs, checker flags out. So, who's got the fastest deltas? Hughes, Evans, Cassidy, Muller. That's the top four at the moment. Cassidy's improving, so's Dennis. Bird's okay in sector 1. Sliding out of it. We're not even seeing the line because Buemi's gone third fastest. 1:18.496. Here comes Cassidy. Hughes goes top. Cassidy stays in third position then across the line. He's moved up from fourth. 1:18.2. Dennis flies into shot behind. Bird's coming into line 2. Dennis, Nato goes 7th. Dennis only 10th, so both Andretti's not doing that well and missing out. Crucially on the jewels is Jake Dennis, who's in the title hunt. The defending champion missing out. Can Bird get through? Yeah, Bird through. Both McLarens are through. Both Jaguars are through. No, they're not. Muller's gone through for Apt. Apt get through for the first time. So they are back into the jewels. Muller goes into P4. It was Sergio Sette Camara, the ERT, who was celebrating a couple of weeks ago with the same thing. And Apt get through to the jewels.
Didn't Muller also get through in Tokyo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So that's back to back
So it's
back.
not the first time. It's
Second time. But it's the first time on a permanent street and a permanent road course where they've struggled a lot this year. If you think back to the last time as well in Mexico when they were having such a poor performance. Struggled as well. You could argue that Dewey wasn't really a street circuit either, and they struggled there. Because that's a purpose-built Formula E circuit around the World Heritage sites. Envision a
Not
bit
a lot in
like,
it between
wow.
Muller and Cassidy. Look. What's that? 5 thousandths of a second between the two?
5
So that
thousandths,
really
yeah.
shows you how narrow the margins are.
1:18.275, 1:18.280. So this is Tinctum. First corner. Oh, and he's put too much power on it. Oh, nice drift though, Dan.
Ooh.
So yeah. Oh, he jumped the sausage curb. as
Oh
well.
my goodness.
So that's what upset the car. He got exit of 1, way too wide, jumped the curb. Yeah, and not great. So where's attack mode on this part of the track? Down at turn 12. So too much power out of 11 into 12. Hit the sausage curb, turned in with a rear brake balance irregularity, and it just shot the car around. Hughes,
Why do I
Evans.
feel like that yellow sausage curb is going to cause a plane crash in the race?
That is true.
As you can see, oh,
In lap, we lost in lap. I hit the grass exit turn 9.
You're still fastest.
Copy. I'll let you know the results when all cars are finished.
But you're still fastest.
worried
That was a
I might
delayed
get deleted.
radio.
First 3 laps of cars 1 Dennis and 3 NATO have been deleted. That
was a delayed one.
Yeah. So that's what the stewards have just said. So it's Hughes,
But
Evans.
why?
It must be that technical infraction. Hughes, Evans, Bird, Muller, the 4 that go through, alongside Vern, Verline, Roland, and Gunther. They'll be facing each other in the quarterfinals. Out go Cassidy, Boemi, NATO, Mortara, Tinctum, Dennis, and Nick de Vries starts at the back of the grid alongside Sergio Sete Camara. The Jules up next in around about a 15-minute break, I think. Didn't you say, JT? How long is it? Top of the hour, 11 o'clock?
Let me check.
So TNT go to a break.
Quarterfinals is at 10:05.
So around about a 13-minute
10
break.
minutes.
Yeah. Not long at all. To get into this one.
10:05 to 10:20 is the quarterfinals. Then 4-minute gap. 10:24 to 10:34 is the semi-final. Then another 4-minute gap. 10:38 to 10:43 is the final.
Interesting call around then. I want to get some opinions from Ed at the moment as well. What did you make of yesterday? I don't know if you saw the rookies test and what you saw of it. And how did you find it, Ed?
I did see the rookies test, and you two were covering it. So not only am I annoyed that McLaren got both cars through to the duels, but I'm also annoyed that Taylor Barnard got the also NEOM sponsor McLaren. Now sponsored, I believe, for the rest of the season, if the article I read is correct. British American Tobacco, not just sponsoring the F1 team, but the Formula E team as well. But yeah, full credit to Taylor Barnard. He did a good job to lead that rookie session. All the rookies, I think, did a pretty good job. No big incidents. Felt like they all got lots of experience and track time. Hopefully we see 1 or 2 of them again in Formula E in the future. I thought it was just a shame that we couldn't get Alice Powell in the car, because apparently due to stuff like the ladies test in Diriyah a few years ago, they said, oh, Alice Powell's done too many Formula E tests, so she counts as sort of having too much Formula E experience, which I think a lot of that was in the Gen 2 car. I think that's a bit harsh on Alice Powell. But anyway, I guess they need to prioritize Aaron, because he's doing Berlin and he's who they've chosen, and he's got a good record in F2 as well, so, and F3 for that matter too. So I think Paul Aaron will probably do quite well in Berlin, and I think Jordan King for that matter as well is a very, very good pick for Mahindra.
I love how this series, when it started, it's the only racing series where if you're a man or woman, it doesn't matter. You can all drive these cars. And we had Catherine Legg, Simona Di Silvestro come in, and Jay Alice Powell's done some testing. But now, once again, as soon as it became a world championship, and since about, season 2? It's all been male drivers.
Simona lost her seat at the end of season 2,
yeah,
because not because she was a woman, but because she didn't really show up particularly well compared to Robin Frines, and Da Costa was available, so Andretti hired Antonio Felix Da Costa, and now of course years later Da Costa is become world champion and is now struggling to hold on to that Porsche seat, if rumours are to be believed. But he seemed pretty defiant when he was asked about it yesterday, Da Costa. So. Anyway, yeah, it is a shame we haven't seen another female driver, because I think there's plenty with the talent to do so. Obviously, there were loads that have tested Formula E cars, but very few that have gotten the chance to actually race them since season 2, really. And in fact, none.
Jess, if you've covered F1 Academy, there's plenty of drivers in there who would be absolutely amazing to rocket into a seat and get it going.
Yeah. Especially the likes of Doriane as well, who won the first race in Jeddah. She got it taken off the second one due to reasons, which I could talk about for ages, but I'm going to the Formula E. Abby Pulling as well, the F1, the Ferrari Academy driver as well. There's just so much people they could have used to do a FB test. I think they should get more, but again, busy schedules and stuff. 'Cause obviously, there's people doing other series as well that they could do. Maya, that's the one. Thanks, Amy. I was trying to figure the name. Who was that? But yeah, Maya's done very well in Formula Academy recently. I think she's second or third in the championship right now, so it's doing good. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Josh, that there should be more diversity. But they can't just put it in women in there because they're women. They got to be good. So
Exactly, yeah. And I think the other thing is a lot of the F1 Academy drivers are all focused on trying to get in Formula One and that single-seater ladder, and Formula E is a little bit outside of that. So you do need someone that's certainly got the right priorities and the right amount of free time. Usually we end up getting a lot of people on the F2, F3 sort of ladder that get sick of having to pay so much to get into F1, and that's why they go to FE, or it's from like the GT or sort of endurance world as well. But yeah, there's plenty of ways into Formula E, even though there's no official sort of feeder series. They're showing a replay of on the Nissans. I assume that's Roland just getting all out of shape.
Yeah, that was Roland, yeah.
And let's go down and hear from Kate Mullings, who's alongside Corinne Chaddock and JJ.
This group, only Vern improved on that final lap of the 4 drivers who entered the duel. The other 3 had done a good enough time earlier on in the session, but they didn't really improve on that last lap. And yeah, Oliver Rowland putting on a good display of car control there to save it.
Katie, when we was talking before, we mentioned the Antonio Felix da Costa situation, and you mentioned that it could potentially be their way of getting him going, so to speak. You know, and that didn't quite happen for him today.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at the timing screens, it is so tight. I think it was in the second group there, it was 4 tenths between the drivers in the duels there that got through to the duels. So it's really small margins he's looking to find out on the track here. I think, you know, we saw a great performance, though, from both McLarens. I think they did really well in Group B. Andretti obviously struggling. There was under investigation for a technical infringement, I think, for Jake Dennis. I don't know if we had an update on that.
I don't think we've had any news. Well, I walk out here to find you, so we'll find out when we go back to the commentary box. But yeah, you know, I think it's normally to do with a tyre pressure infraction potentially, but we'll see. I'm sure the team and the stewards will be having a chat about that.
You touched on Jake Hughes, top in the charts again, Group B. He looked comfortable. He put out a quick time straight away initially as the cars went out.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he went out and did an 18-1 straight away on that first run, and then just chipped away, got into the 117s. And actually, his last lap was very strong in the first sector, and then it went away from him. So you'd have to say that he and Jev are looking like the 2 favourites to get to the finals, and I think that'll be a fantastic final if we get those 2 up there.
Yeah, and we mentioned Felix da Costa situation. Nico Muller is the other part of that conversation, and he delivered right at the end, got himself into 4th.
He's looked good in qualifying all season long, hasn't he? You know, they haven't quite had the race pace and the energy management to go with it, perhaps, when we got to the race. But in qualifying, he's looked very strong and as you said, once again delivered to get in the duels.
Well, that's Groups A and B done now, and now we can go and enjoy ourselves for the quarterfinals. Lots to look forward to here in Misano. So let's get you back to our commentary team of DC and Tom Brooks.
So the session about to get underway then here for the... well, we're going to... There we go. I was going to say there's no audio coming to the track. So, it's time for the quarterfinals for the Misano E-Prix. The qualifying duel segment now coming up. We've had the group stages. A little new animation there as well, actually, from Formula E. There's the results of the previous one. Hughes topped Group B alongside Evans, Bird, Muller. They progress from Group B. Group A was Vern, Verline, Roland and Gunther. And these are the highlights of the previous session. Let's hand over to Tom Brooks.
Stages that we had just a few moments ago. Group A went out on track and we saw a few frantic moments for a few drivers, including Sergio Sette Camara, who was actually lucky to make it out on the track following some technical problems in free practice earlier on this morning. And we saw Antonio Felix da Costa flirting with the outside of the circuit and clipping the grass as well. Unfortunately, he was not the driver who made it through into the duels of what could be potentially a very pivotal weekend for him in the Porsche. We saw Oliver Rowland doing his best Tokyo Drift impression. Should have left that for a couple of weeks ago, really, when we were in Japan. Ended up grass tracking, thankfully avoided any further dramas and made it crucially through into the duels. Lovely bit of car control nonetheless. Let's look at some more super sideways shots of the boy from Barnsley, who was also in the duels here this afternoon. We saw also Sette Camara going off the track. Antonio Felix da Costa, who didn't make it through, said, oh, well, I just saw him whilst I was on the lap, but that was a bit of a distraction. We saw Group B going out a little bit later on in the session, and it was big drama, unfortunately, for reigning world champion Jake Dennis, who did not make the cut. Both Andretti's actually out of group stages of qualifying. Norman Nato here, you can see, going off the track, and this is the pivotal moment here for Jake Dennis, clipping the wall on turn 9. Ended up setting a lap time, but it was only good enough for 10th quickest overall in that session, so he'll be right the very back of the field. His saving grace is that it's expected to be a very energy efficient race. And then it was like downtown San Marino right at the very end of the session. Everybody vying for track position, trying to find some clear air as they got ready to set their final representative lap times in the session. Dan Tickton clipping the sausage curves on the outside into the final sector. Cost him a little bit of time. I wonder if it might have actually damaged the car slightly there too.
Yeah, it was a big hit.
It certainly was, yeah. You can see the car sliding its way around. But, Tickton not making it through out of the...
What I want to know is, who's producing the audio levels over there at the World Feed? Because if it is Whisper, turn it down. I can barely hear them over the headphones. They're just pounding out music for 5 minutes. Look at that, music's in the public domain now that we can use it.
But Tom Player worked so hard on that score, Josh.
I know, but I want
to be the only thing we ever hear for the rest of our lives.
Wait, that music's in the public domain?
Yes.
Well, I think it's publicly available, yeah. I don't think you get copyright strike if you use
You don't, you can use it. We use it on our podcasts and on the channels. I think even Matt, P1 and Tommy use it as well. And yeah, you can use any of them. They're in public to use. Trust me.
Oh, right, interesting.
I spent several a month looking at that. Look at that, Roland. 8 pole positions, the most by any driver who has not won a championship. But he's won 9 duels, so that's something at least. And away
He
we
did
go
miss
there.
the second half of last season, though, so that does help. That he's not been any more duels that he had to lose in season 9.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Who did miss the end of last season? Quite a lot, didn't he? Come on, take a selfie. There you go.
Hey.
Families are in. There's the neon yellow
Weird that
backpacks.
if you look in the background, there's lots of closed off grandstands, so they seem to have
Yeah.
got most of the fans on a little infield, a little park here.
Kimmy tops as well. McLaren hats. Simicelli, Michael Simicelli 58 tops as well as they get to the end of the pit lane. What on earth is this from Roland? He's like he's gone right up to the shade.
Yeah, that's what I was about to point that out. He's so close to the wall.
Like a mini karting grid.
It's designed for... Oh, there's the Jules. I love that Lego car. There you go. So it's Roland in the Nissan, Verline in the Porsche. Predictor vote says 60% for Verline, 40% for Roland. I think you've got it wrong there, everyone, because the last time these two faced each other, Roland beat Verline.
That was last time out, wasn't it, in Tokyo that happened?
The mini grid...
Or was it Brazil?
No, you're right. It was last time out as well. The mini grid at the end of the pit lane as we go green is for the MotoGP, because after the 2015, or is it the 2014 or 2015 German Grand Prix at the Sachsenring, we had a wet start. So everybody peeled in on the formation lap, bar 6 bikes. The 6 bikes took the start on the grid on dry tyres, and then those in the pit lane went to wet bikes and wet tyres. In those days, you had steel brakes instead of the carbon, because in those early days of the wet bikes, the carbon brakes weren't as good. So you had a carbon brake for the dries, and then when you were wet, you had steel brakes. So you get more temperature into them and keep the tyres up to temperature with the steels. Nowadays, the technology's come on so much with Brembo that you have got the carbon brakes on both bikes. No longer do you have steel, so it's a lighter chassis. But in those days, you had to get the steel, so you had everybody on cold brakes going down the pit lane at high speed, braking suddenly, and then you had 18 bikes in the pit lane lined up alongside each other, launching out up to turn 1. Dorna didn't like it, the stewards didn't like it, so for the very next race, they put a grid hatchings at the end of the pit lane, and that's where you must line up. So it's a mini grid in the pit lane. If you come in and start in the pit lane, you must then line up in those grid slots. So that's why here at Mazzano you see it, and you see it at a couple of other tracks as well. You have mini grid slots. So yeah, that's why.
Interesting fact. Learn something new every day there.
I was commentating on the race. It was quite weird. And then we had it again a couple of years later as well. It was weird. And then at one time in Silverstone, it rained on the formation lap. Everybody came into the pit lane, and they were going to start the race with no bikes on the track at all until everyone crowded out in the pit lane, and then there was a crash in the pit lane. So they decided, okay, let's delay the start. And then they redid it all with a lap less. The red flags came out. So That was a weird race. As we got the duels underway, though, in this first sector, finally, we've stopped talking that. First sector for Roland is a 27.3. Second sector for Verline is a 27.4. So there's a 10th between them, and Roland's got the advantage, as I said.
I love you where you go. Oh, yeah, there's a duel going. And it's big snap for Roland as he gets onto the back straight there.
I've got carried away with my points as well. Luckily, everyone can see them on the track and the Delta screens. 3 8 and 9. Verline is catching. Roland gets on the dirt. Exit at 9, and that's going to affect him coming through the T section as well. So he's going to lose a lot of time. The rear drifting as he comes. Look at that. Verline's closing in on him. 81 thousandths the gap. Roland second sector, 22.147. Verline, 22.113. So this is now going to be between the thousands once again. Roland at the last corner. Across the line. His benchmark time. It's a 1:17.704. Should be easy for Verline to get this back up after that mistake from Roland. And he does! By a 1/10.5. 1:17.549. Verline beats Roland. It's 1-1 in the duels. Well, that was a surprise. I did not see that coming.
The prediction was right in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I beat you, Josh.
I'm angry. I thought Roland was going to smash it after that. But, oh well. Next up, Gunther and Vern. Who do you think then between these two?
Oh, that's a tough one between the two of them because obviously Vern. Yeah, same powertrain, and Gunther won last time out. Vern has been looking quickest yesterday and today. I'm gonna go with Vern. No doubt about it, because he's been quickest all weekend and he tops the duels in Group A. So, well, the heats in Group A. Sorry.
I've just realised, Jess, I'm going to have to send you my digital copy of my qualifying tracker for you to write out and send to me, as I keep a track of them all in Formula E for Monaco.
Oh, when we do it for Monaco, yeah. And you have to send me the OBS file as well.
Oh, yeah, and you'll love it because you don't have to do anything because it's all browser source.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Here we go then. Gunther started it as Ed showed you. It's Gunther v Vern on the duels with the Lego E cars. Down to turn 1 comes
I love
Vern.
it.
I love those cars so much. I want them. He's sent me the patterns
Me too.
before.
I
27.
have to take them with me to London
Yes.
so I can use them to explain Formula E to Jess's parents, as Gunther has a little moment, or it might be just him cresting the hill there.
Well, they know Formula E, my parents, quite a lot now, so you don't have to explain to them too much. They've been watching it religiously all season so far. They've watched every race.
To find them as Gunther just dips a wheel right next to the gravel there, and he's lost a load of time, half a second to Jeff.
How on earth? It's getting worse. It's 7 tenths, 8 tenths now. What is going on? And hang on a minute. Hang on. Vern is visibly catching him. They were in the same camera shot. When you ever remember that in the duels? What is going on?
No clue.
Gunther is a second down.
Gunther must have made a massive mistake in sector 1, and it might just be the setup that he had is struggling. It's a second, yeah.
Oh,
so
he's off the track.
No, well, that's him out of the duels because he lost a bit of time there. Oh, that's not a good lap time at all. And we got Vern, who's going to exit the last corner, and it's going to be Josh.
A 1:17.476, fastest time of the duels so far, and that is Jean-Eric Vern topping every single session he has appeared in so far this weekend. Because of course we have the rookies practice session. And
well,
also,
that's good for me because that's my grid network pick a winner for this weekend. For race 1, I've chosen someone different for race 2, but I'll probably regret my decision for race 2.
I don't know.
But you know, that was a massive bump. But did he have another bump?
There was 2, wasn't there?
I think that was when he got close to the gravel, wasn't it? Yeah.
This is into
Oh,
turn.
he got a bit of a moment on entry.
No.
Oh!
At turn
Did a
12. Yeah. That sausage curb edge, as you pointed out, that's a big, big, big one. Evans v.
I could have a
Birds.
massive rant about sausage curbs.
Anyone
But
got
not
the
right now.
Has anyone got the phone number for Abby Eaton? She too might have.
08007 1066. Joking.
she might have something to say about sausage curbs as well after it broke her back. They're just not needed in single-seaters. And also, they're banned in MotoGP. So what the hell they're doing at Mazzano, I don't know. Formula E must have put them there. Bird locking up down to Primera.
From George.
Oh, he's got wide coming through Primera. So that's turn 8 in MotoGP, but it's turn 5 here. It's confusing the hell out of me this weekend. Bird is up 27.260 first sector. Oh, and now Evans is 20 thousandths difference between them. 27.240. Not much between them at all at the moment as they come through. Where Evans is, that's at Casablanca. Why, I don't know they call it that, but, you know. When not in Rome. As they swing through. Braking hard. 67 thousandths now that Evans is ahead. Bird's losing time. You can hear the train just pushing through. But as you said, Ed, we're expecting these times to be very similar because they're both Jaguar powertrains.
No, Bird has got a
Nissan powertrain, yeah. My fault.
The Verline and John O'Verne was the closest one.
Yeah, I still haven't woken up. My brain won't engage. Not much sleep.
And Bird, that's 117.731 then. And Evans is almost identical with that lap time towards the line.
So this is all going to be at the last corner then. And Evans is 5/10 faster across the line. What?
I think that might have been a glitch. That I think he might have already been ahead rather than equal.
How on earth did he get that better of an exit? And again, everybody who goes out second seems to be getting the lap times. It's always the case. I don't know if they should change the duels or not, but it's a running pattern this year that if you run second out there on the circuit, you get the fastest time. I don't think we've had a situation yet in the quarterfinals at least, where if you go out first, you've got your lap time. Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look. I don't think it's been quite as clear-cut as you make it out to be, Josh. I think we've also had quite a few close duels regardless of who goes out in what order. But yeah, it seems to be a bit of a pattern. Let's see if Muller nobody seems to be voting with Nico Muller here, and now I need to hurriedly get switch out Sam Bird for JQs.
So JQ's 86%, Nico Muller 14% in the predictor vote, and here they go now on the lap times. We have time. There they are, look, on Ed's camera as we start green. Is that Nemo livery I saw?
Yeah, I have to say the driver's showing great restraint not to smash into the PIF boards, because that's exactly what I would do. I'm glad I'm not a Formula E driver. It'd be a PR nightmare.
Careful with your legs.
I'm surprised you still let me on here, Josh.
I'm not going to say that, because I'd get shouted at by people. But for those in the know... You're not, yeah. Anyway, Hughes up in that first sector. Moving on to the next story. Muller is a 27.237, but Hughes is a 27.225. 12 thousandths of a second between them, and now they're matching in that middle sector. Yes, yes, this is good. This is more like it. Can Abt get through to the semi-finals? And Muller pushing hard.
He's done it before. Come on, Nico.
Hughes drifting sideways a little bit on the track as well as he comes to the breakers over for 89 chicane. Muller, Muller's down. Muller's maybe lost a lot of time. Hughes 21.9. Second sector, Muller 22.0. At the last corner, don't get it on the curb. You get a good exit. That's a very good exit for Muller. It's a 1:17.284, and it's 2/10 up from Hughes, but then it goes to the same time. So there must be a sensor problem, as you said, Ed, in that last corner. That's the second time that's happened now as we come across the line.
Ahead here.
He's got him.
Wow.
That's the
fastest time of the whole of the weekend so far.
At 350 kilowatts per hour, JQ's proving that McLaren's got some gumption. 1:16.977, fastest in all three sectors. And who went out? So, yeah, again, go out second, you get it.
Yeah, so that means we got Berline, Jev, Hughes, and Evans then going through to the semi-finals.
Yeah. So Verne and Hughes are going to be in the finals then.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
I think you're right, Jess. So we say bye-bye to Verline and Evans. Let's hear from Hughes now.
You never know.
I told you what you need to know, mate. Well, I didn't get my lap time, so you tell me.
What? That was weird.
Hughes has been acting weird all weekend long. Did you hear him in the commentary for the rookie session yesterday? Practically flirting with half the drivers on the grid.
Well, no, he was also talking about his engineer. Him and his engineer, apparently, his engineer just told loads of dad jokes to him.
Oh, right.
And there we go. So Verline versus Vern, Evans versus Hughes.
I'd love to go for a beer with Jake Hughes. That must be so funny. Although beer's quite thingy, isn't it, for racing drivers? So presumably it's like wine or spirits or something.
An alcohol-free beverage.
Yes, Heineken, not sponsored.
Well, they have champagne, so...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but it's alcohol-free now. Did you know? It's the alcohol-free version on the podiums. Not even the good stuff.
Oh, that's boring.
I know. I'm very,
only
very
come to these
annoyed.
races to get plastered. We all know that.
Yeah. Gone are the days of drivers getting out of the car, kissing the girl, getting a cigarette, and having the champagne on the podium. Don't you miss the early 2000s?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I was watching a race the other day with the V10s, and I really miss it. I really do. Because the modern Formula 1 cars, I've heard them trackside. Jess, you have too. Yes, they're loud, but they're not fingers sticking in your ears loud, are they?
Yeah, they're not as loud as the Porsches or the F2 and F3 cars.
Yeah, there's a noticeable difference. I mean, when you have the F2 and F3 cars, you really do have to go like, oh, they're loud, and the Porsches do. But the F1, it's like a... Not bad at all.
By the way, Josh, semi-finals start at 10:24.
So, 16 minutes. What's with the gaps? I thought they brought them down.
No, it's a few minutes. You got a few minutes.
Oh, good.
Do your maths.
Okay. Yeah.
Got to fit these ads in somehow on TNT Sports, Josh.
Oh, I bet that's the reason.
I know,
as
when
well.
it comes to sound for cars, I subscribe to the Formula E philosophy that louder sound is just more wasted energy, essentially. And I actually... but I see the appeal, because I grew up with those V10s as well, Josh. So I do remember that going to Goodwood Festival Speed and having those ear-splitting like Toyotas and Mercedes and Ferraris and all the other cars and such. And occasionally the V12 from like the older days from like the 90s and stuff, and the Hondas, which are also very pretty loud too and throaty. But yeah, I think with Formula E, all the cars sound a little bit different, and you really notice it trackside as well. That some of the Mahindra powertrains have got different sound to, say, the DS and Maserati powertrains, and the
Jaguar,
and the
I think,
Porsches
is a bit
sound
throaty. Yeah.
quite sort of deep, and the Jaguar is a little bit kind of. I remember the Jaguar's being quite high pitched compared to the others, but might be just my memory failing me. And then the Neo 333 powertrain, which is now the ERT, sounds like a bag of nails. But
You give me some insight ready for July, Ed.
yeah, I think it's easier to hear it for yourself rather than have me badly describe it.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm very much looking forward to the possibility, from what I'm hearing, is that, you know, that they've said that these cars are undrivable on the new dyno testing, that they're failing massively.
The
new
Formula 1
yes.
26 cars.
Yeah. It's not too late, you know. You've got time. If you push the regulations back to 2027, which is not unheard of, 2022, of course, was supposed to be in 2021. So you push them back to 2027, give them all a year. You'll have more synthetic fuel by then, reusable fuel. Stick in some V10s, reusable fuel, ditch the rubbish technology, slim the cars down. Formula 1's back to what it was. That's all I'm saying. Right, we've got a break time. Let's hand over to JJ. Sorry, everyone. Oh, it's Tom Brooks. We're saved.
And then we'll have Mitch Evans versus Jake.
Yes.
In a second, of course, only one driver from each can progress forwards. As we look at the teams now, just popping the tyres onto the car. Final preparations taking place. I mean, given John O'Byrne's pace so far this weekend, you'd be hard to bet against him, really.
Yeah, well, I think it's a cracking lineup actually in both these semis. But yeah, he just seemed confident every time he's hit the track. So yeah, you've got to favour him, I think, at this stage.
Absolutely, you can see the double champion John O'Byrne led both free practice sessions, led his group stages of qualifying earlier on here as well, and has been in imperious form so far in Misano. But of course, Pascal Wehrlein, championship leader, 2 pole positions so far in 2023. For his worst grid position, actually was 10th place in Diriyah when he didn't make it through into the duels. Other than that, he's been in the duels on every occasion so far this year. That, meanwhile, is Max Günther, who didn't make it through from the quarterfinals. Going over that sausage curb on the exit of turn 11. And, managing to gather it up all okay, but nonetheless, that would have been a fairly hard landing because, well, these cars are not exactly known for their comfort. Just have another look as he goes through into that right-hander. You see just a little bit of instability on the rear as he comes in, and at that point, it's too late to fix it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if you're turning away from the apex on entry, by the time you got it sorted out, you then had too much momentum, carried them out onto the point beyond the curb and over the slipping policeman.
You don't want to do that too often because you can start to damage the monocoque there. I think there's a lot of energy going into the bottom of the car in an unconventional way. It's not the way that the cars are designed to take impacts, and that, too much of that at too high a speed can really damage the monocoque.
Well, here we are then for the semi-finals. It's going to be Pascal Wehrlein versus Jean-Eric Vergne in the first of them. And then it will be Mitch Evans in the Jaguar and Jake Hughes, who's been very quick so far over the course of one lap in the Neil McLaren. Who of those four drivers is going to be joining us in the final? First up, it is going to be Pascal Wehrlein versus Jean-Eric Vergne. They've not met in a duel actually since Jakarta back in 2022. On that occasion, Vergne won the quarterfinal on his way to taking pole position. On that occasion. In terms of the predictor, 63% of you think it's going to go the way of the double champion for DS Penske, 37% in favour of Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein will be out of the door first, so be interested to see what sort of reference points Vergne is going to have out on track as we wait for the green light to come on. Drivers to head out onto the circuit here for their one and only flying lap in this session.
I guess every driver's different in how they prepare for a single flying lap. I guess they'd be catching their breath sitting at the end of the pit lane, maybe visualising partially the lap.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to. I love that from Top Box. Yeah. So I don't think he needs to visualise the lap. He's driving.
Yeah, it's weird.
David Coulthard started off as a really great commentator in the early days of the BBC. Continued it with Channel 4. And then I think as soon as they lost the rights at the end of 2018, and we started in 2019 when it went to highlights only, he just gave up a lot. And
well,
then,
also, I don't think he's a very good Formula E commentator, and B, I think he's a much better pundit than a commentator, to be honest. I think it's a very different skill you need. You could tell in commentary, his set question, his answer would just be sort of very... He'll give very obvious things that I could probably tell you.
I think him and Ben Edwards are a great partnership in the commentary box. Him and Martin Brundle, him and David Ben Edwards, but him and Alex Jakes don't really gel that much. I don't know. Actually, I'll defer to Omi on this. Omi, you in the commentary box? Are you near a microphone while we build up for this? I'd love to get your opinion. Yeah, you listen to their commentary. How's DC with Alex Jakes? Because I don't hear it that much.
Well, I think someone like Alex Brundle definitely could be much more better at it and have a bit more of a flow like they do in F2. But yeah, with Coulthard, he has got a little bit more boring, and it's like he doesn't care half of the time, really, in commentary.
Thank you, Omi. Age, I presume, as we see Wehrlein coming through. He starts his lap time just a little bit wide exit of turn 2. Let's see what the first sector delta is across it. It's a 27.182 for Wehrlein. Vergne starts his lap time. That was about 24 seconds back as well, actually, so that's quite a gap between them.
I've just seen the chat.
George says he sounds so down with Alex Jakes. Omi, George wants a shout out, Omi.
Hi, George.
George loves you, Omi. He's like a big fan.
Fantastic.
Oh, look how close it is between Jev and Wehrlein. Just a 100th of a second between them briefly there, but looks like Wehrlein's starting to pull ahead.
This is going to be a very close one. Vergne has been the top dog in every other session he's done. Is Wehrlein, the championship leader, about to spoil that party as he comes out of it as well, up towards the line. And Verline's delta. Well, Verline's made a mistake. Vern's now catching him, and he's now up by a 10th. And a big, big moment at the last corner, turn 14. Verline, 117.143. That's the gambit. Now we saw 116 the previous session. We're still now, remember, at 350 kilowatts of power, so we should be getting slightly faster. Vern is pushing as hard as he can. They say they're matching, but they're not. Up to the line. What's the time for Jean-Éric Vern? It's a 1:17.085. Vern is faster by 58 thousandths of a second. So again, following the pattern. I know you hate it, Ed, but everybody's at second is currently going through.
Yeah, I think Jev was actually behind before he went into that final corner there. So it's quite a dramatic device from Formula E to have the penultimate timing sensor malfunction completely for both cars. So it just says they're equal. So it's quite a way of making things seem a lot closer than they are sometimes.
There's the Penske radio.
Yeah, you'd be pretty pleased there.
Okay, mate, good job. In lap.
Jess, you've got one right. Do you think you got the other?
I hope so, in terms of prediction, but to be fair, Verline, it gave a run for the money. It wasn't just a domination, it was close. So it could have gone either way, but Vern took it. So
here we go then. It's the final one. It is Hughes versus Evans. Evans is out first, so by natural of the law, we're going to see Hughes go through. Oh, not the best start to that time for Evans. Picks up the dust coming to that exit of turn 14. Into one, fights for control, gets it through nicely. Through the little S section as well at the back half of the circuit. There's the medical car. Here's Hughes on his lap time as they fly into the first corner again. A lot of trail braking from Hughes in that McLaren. A little bit slower at the X, I'd say there, Ed, actually. It's not the perfect first sector, and it was down a little bit in the first mini sector.
That's true, but the first sector's not really where you gain time. It's through these sort of tighter hairpins, sort of longer, constant radius corners that you can really nail and sort of gain time through the high-speed stuff. And look, Hughes already starting to catch 8 thousandths ahead now. In fact, slightly more than that.
They are really slow between them now. Look at this. It's close. 12 thousandths. First sector, 27.173 for Evans. 27.142 for Hughes. Sector 2 for Evans is a 22.069. And there comes Hughes into the 8-9 chicane. Sector 2 just after it and does 21.908. Moves within 2:10. So Hughes now finding a lot of time into the last corner. Jaguar had to fight the homologation. Look at that. Evans has now swung ahead. Evans has swung ahead massively. What's happened to Hughes? He's dropped massive amounts of time. So Evans is going to go through here. 1:17.170. And Hughes must have had a snap from somewhere. He's lost a lot of time. He's gone from being 2 tenths up to 3 tenths down. A 5 tenths loss across the line. He gets it back to 2.5. But Hughes is out. And it's Evans for the first time that one who goes first gets through to the next part. And he's into the final alongside Vern. But what happened to Hughes? A massive error, and we didn't see it on the TV pictures because for some reason we can't have live split side-by-side split.
that was a bit of a shame there. I think it just goes to show that maybe Evans likes the pressure a bit more. But this is the replay.
It's that curb.
Where you get to see, right.
That curb, it's got to go. That is like another snap and then bang, launched.
Right. Rad time.
Go, Jess.
What's the point of having sausage curbs in motorsport? We know that it's dangerous. We've seen in tracks like Imola and Monza where we've seen issues. 2021 springs to mind.
Yeah.
And we've seen similar instances like that and in practice. They should be out of motorsport, period. If it's not, I don't know what we're going to do.
I think I agree with Jess, because they're meant to be there as a deterrent, right? But you saw with Hughes there, he lost the back end. He was trying to collect it up, and in order to do so, he had to go over the sausage curb. So that's going to cause an accident in the race, even more so combined with the pack racing that we're almost certainly going to see, like we saw at Portland last year, that we get these sort of road courses that have got these long, wide sort of corners. So, but I think cause for concern here.
And Silverstone F2 2022, as Amy pointed out as well, there was a big crash with the sausage curb.
Nizani hitting the side as well.
Wasn't
Oh,
there
you
the
don't wanna
F3
say that
crash at
word.
Monza a few years as well, where the guy
2019,
flipped
Pironi.
over? Was it Alex?
Pironi.
I can't remember.
Pironi,
Italian driver.
yeah.
Pironi, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Week after we lost Anton.
You don't want to say the Nisani word to Ome. He would rant quite a bit, actually.
So, it's Verline gone, Hughes gone. The final is Evans versus Verne. They'll start 1-2 on the grid, but in what order? We'll find out in the final when it gets going in a few moments' time as well. Yeah,
Verline's going to start third, though, isn't he? So, championship leader, that's not too bad for him,
Yeah.
to be honest. I think that's, considering where some of the others are, that's probably a net win for him.
Yeah, ahead of Hughes, who'll start fourth on the grid on the second row, so that's not too bad. And there's the ad break as we were predicting. Wow, unbelievable. So what's happening here? Yeah, the classic Nazani thing says Josh T. Yes, at Monza. No, he ain't in F2, so he's secure. As they come into it, there's the final coming in now with the battles on the monitors ahead of us here for the Mazzano E-Prix. Hang on, is there 2 S's in Mazzano on our monitor here in the commentary box? Who's done that? It's a 1S. Where's the? It's 1S. Who's done that? I bet it's a sticky key. There we go, Mazzano.
Or it might be somebody trying to turn it into Miss Arno.
Yeah, miss it, don't go.
You don't want to miss Misano.
That's been like that for the entire weekend, and I didn't notice until I just looked at the screen. It must have been one of those sticky keys. Like, you know, when it sticks down, it does it twice. It was lagging when I was writing it, though. The computer was being a right
George,
pain.
my rant was perfectly fine. If I went on for too long, it would go off topic.
Hey, Jess, if there's anyone who rants about injustice in this call, it's probably not going to be you. Let's put it that way.
Megan's the best of ranting, so
Oh, that's true, yeah. But,
she's the queen of ranting on JB Motorsports. So whenever she's around, I
Where's
always need to
the
rant to
yellow?
her. Yeah, where's the yellow? Yeah.
my rants are more depressing than entertaining. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's because
I'll have to put mine to Mr. Jeff Dodds on Wednesday, maybe.
Oh my God!
By the way, Josh, whilst we're on an ad break, Josh T has got a soundboard stuff.
Oh.
I added something.
Oh, very
Josh
nice.
T has been cooking in this broadcast.
Really?
Right, here we go.
What have you got? Moving on to the next story. Oh my God! I do one accent. You've picked that up quite quick, haven't you?
Thanks to Josh T.
You do one accent.
It's going to get to the point where we're going to start doing things with the intention that it gets picked up on a soundboard, and it won't get picked up. It'll just come across as us being very, very strange and sort of saying things that don't fit the moment.
That's
George
gonna
was
be
laughing at that. Laugh.
That's going to be the case, isn't it? We're just going to say random things.
The
Well, we
Not that
ran
you don't
out.
do that
We
already.
ran out of clips, so we have to get rid of from the next one if we add a new
We'll have
one.
to make the funny noises ourselves. What a novel idea.
there is something called your soundboard and my personal soundboard. We will be fine.
That is true. I've already got one of Josh T saying, "What do you mean?"
Oh no, not that one.
Oh, well, don't worry, I won't play it.
No.
But I've got these ones.
Where's the yellow? We need something.
That
But I
definitely.
won't play anymore.
I thought that was Josh sped up there, but that's actually Megan.
It's Megan, yeah.
And I got the unsafe release one, but again, I won't play it because we're
Ed.
about to get racing.
What do you mean?
Is that Jess's? Have you reprogrammed Jess?
No, that was live.
Oh, right. Oh, my word.
This is the soundboard.
What do you mean?
Right, anyway, sorry.
Let's head back over to Tom Brooks as we get ready. The final is up soon.
Going head-to-head in the last of our duels. This is a bit of a mock-up of what we could see. These are their fastest laps from the semi-finals here, Karun. What do you make of this?
Well, we just got started, so let's we can have a look. It's a tricky angle to look at from here, but you know, both drivers got a tidier run through turn one than Jake Hughes did, and I think that's where it set Evans up against Hughes, using different bits of the track and the curb on the apex of turn 5. A slightly tighter line for Jean-Luc Verne into 6 and 7, and pinches a bit more off the inside curb. Let's see as we get into 8 and 9 as to which of the drivers were more committed on that big sausage curb on the right-hand side. It looks like Evans maybe grabbed a bit more of that, and now into the faster section towards the end of the lap. Little bit of a break for 10 as you take the curb, and then getting a big bite of the cherry on the inside. Evans once again using more curb on the apex with the Jaguar car there. Penultimate corner, the left-hander, and now into the final one. Yeah, I mean, both drivers got pretty tidy laps, wasn't it? I think in terms of the lap time, it looked like Jeff had a slight advantage, not just there, but also all through the day he's had a slight advantage, and you'd have to say going into the final, he's got to be the favourite.
Yeah, well, there's a lot riding on this for John Rivoni. He can officially tie Sebastian Buemi's pole record of 16 here this afternoon as well. So let's see what that is going to look like for the double champion. You can see how we've got here from the quarters into the semis and then here into the finals as well. Be keen to see what is going to happen here for this one. I suppose there's a bit of an interest as well going into the E-Prix itself, because no drivers are going to particularly want to be leading for that long, given the energy efficiency race that we're expecting. Do you think there's an argument to say that whoever starts in pole position might want to make a bit of a poor start, shall we say, so that they can drop behind and sit in second?
Well, that may be the case later, but right now, I think their mindsets will be, I'm a race driver, the car's talking to me the way it is, how can I exploit the performance and the track on this day in history? There's the psychological boost of being fastest person.
Both of these drivers have taken pole in Italy, of course, before in Rome.
Yep.
Evans was on pole in 2023, Jev on pole in 2022, so they,
Here we go. So away we go then. And Ed, you've got the cars. We weren't on the camera when you did them, so do you want to pop them on again?
Okay, sure thing. Lovely insight from DC there. My mindset would be, I'm a racing driver. Gee, thanks DC. I thought they were farmers or something. But,
Wait, you're telling me this isn't MotoGP? Oh, I've been lied to all weekend.
And it's not Formula 2.
Oh, DC.
Josh?
It's his third ever commentary on Formula E, by the way. Third. Yeah, go on.
Even with these very shortened breaks to 4 minutes between the sessions, they've actually kept on schedule for once.
Wow. That is decent.
Fair play.
is it because it's a road or not a traditional street circuit, so they haven't had
Is it
so many
because
red
it's
flags?
packed schedule though? Like in the next 2 days, so they got to keep the schedule.
I've just spotted something that I want.
I believe this is the first time they've had this short of a gap between the
2
sessions.
seconds.
Evans race.
Is Evans actually going to be able to push on this lap as well? If the tyres are overheating, we'll see. He's going to do it now at the last corner. Useful last lap from the stewards there, as opposed to this is the Grand Prix, so off he goes. Into turn 1, boots it hard, down the brakes, swings through, gently accelerates through the power. You can hear it tuning up in the background. Nice attack to the curbs, and that's a very good exit actually. Good first sector from Hughes. Vern has backed off massively.
Evans, you mean?
Sorry, what did I say?
You said Hughes.
Thank you. Evans. Brain not engaging, not had coffee. Or breakfast. He needs to sort of get
That's
in the
your
crate.
next job.
Yeah.
After this.
2 pancakes, a biscuit, and coffee as they come through.
Can't say you don't eat healthily.
That's only because they were bought yesterday. I mean, I haven't got anything. I would have had some yogurt, but I ate them all.
It's fine, Ed. I had Hawaiian pizza for breakfast.
You were eating that last night.
Ooh.
This is 0.004 of a second between the two here. Evans and Vern are really pushing it. So who's going to be on pole position for the first of 2 Mazzano E-Prix here in 2024? Out of the last corner will come Mitch Evans in the Jaguar TCS. Has he got the pace to bring it through? Vern's dropped in that middle sector through the chicane. He's a 10th and a half down, but Evans goes wide on the last corner, up to the line. 1:17.068. Can anything respond from Jean-Eric Vern into the last corner? He's going to swing it through now. Down through the brakes. Don't regen the energy. Just put it through. I think it's too much. He's sliding the rear. He's gone wide on the exit. Vern is going to be defeated for the first time this weekend. Evans snatches it from both the championship leader and the favourite and the guy coming into this weekend who had been dominant. What a time from Mitch Evans! A 1:17.068. Jaguar started qualifying's hour, not being allowed to run. They fixed that and put it on P1. Vern second. Third on the grid will be Verline. Fourth will be Hughes. And Evans snatched them all from what we were expecting out of nowhere.
Come on, pole position, yes! Well done, mate, well done. First one of the year.
Yeah, first one of the year. That gets Jaguar back on track for Evans, and that came out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, it was interesting because Evans was complaining about the tyres overheating. I think the track temperature was still at 28 degrees Celsius, which I think was slightly up from where it started. But yeah, it looked like Jev was struggling as well with it because you saw him just wheel spinning through the final few corners as well. So Hankook's just overheating, and the Jaguar of Evans managed it just slightly better, and that was what made the difference there. But still, as much as those 3 points are going to help Evans in the championship, once we get to the race, it's all going to come down to efficiency, and we could see the Nissan powertrain cars, the Andretti's, the Porsches, and such all come into play as well.
This is Evans sliding, Jess, the penultimate corner, but we've been watching all weekend, Jess. Vern's been up there in practice 1, practice 2, qualifying Group A, quarterfinals, semi-finals, done them all, and gets defeated in the final by a guy who's...
It's pressure.
Yeah. Where did that
It's
come
the pressure,
through?
Josh, but I don't think he's going to be too disappointed because there has not been many races where the driver started on pole wins the race, so he can still win the race from this position. Second is an all right place to be at Mazzano.
Which side are they starting on? Do we know?
No clue.
No, I don't
I
either.
could check. There's a document somewhere. I can check which side of the grid is where.
All I've got is race distance, race energy, added laps, and attack mode information. I've got nothing on the starting side location. Hang on, is it telling me on the grid actually? Hang on. I've got the track map. Maybe that'll tell me. Turn 1.
Yeah,
no.
it will tell you on the. It will
Not
tell
on
you
the
on the
circuit
track map.
Josh.
It's not on the circuit.
The official one.
What about the
they
pit
said.
lane map? Does it tell you on the, because there's a pit lane
I
map?
don't have that.
Pit lane map. I will have a look. It's taking a while to download. Hold on.
Because if Evans starts on the inside line, he's compromised into that first corner because Vern's going to be able to have the tighter outside run.
Surely they'd start him on the racing line then.
Yeah, but it's different because the
It is
Yeah.
really the pit lane map doesn't show you anything about where.
It's on pit wall side.
Right, so yeah,
More difficult to drive as well.
the dirty side of the grid
I
then.
could not do what I wanted anymore, and what you did on TC, I mean on traction was quite bad. I can really feel it.
So Vern's going to start on the racing line on the P2
Yeah.
on the best side of the grid, and Evans is going to start on the dirty side of the grid, running down to turn 1. So pole is on the dirty side of the grid.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side of the grid next to the pit wall. The power of Google Maps satellite,
Oh, there you go.
everyone.
Hey, well done, Josh T.
So that's going to be interesting run down to that first corner. Here's your grid then. It's been confirmed to us on the monitor. We'll go through it all. And you're starting for 10. It's Mitch Evans on pole. Jean-Luc Verne is second. Pascal Verline starts in third. Jake Hughes is fourth. Nico Muller fifth. Oliver Rowland sixth. Sam Bird is seventh. Max Gunther 8th, Nick Cassidy 9th, Robin Friends is 10th, Sebastian Boemi 11th, Sasha Fenestraz 12th, Norman Natos 13th, Antonio Finch Costa 14th, Eduardo Mortars 15th, Lucas de Grassi 16th, 17th for Dan Tinctum, 18th for Stoffel Van Dorn, 19th Jake Dennis, 20th Jan Juvela, 21st Nick de Vries, and 22nd for Sergio Sete Camara, as well as the young fans loving the paper helmets of the Formula E's as they get it through with their helmets. Let's pass down, though, and get all the info. Nikki.
Well, Mitch Evans, huge congratulations on your 8th career pole. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Honestly, wasn't expecting that when I woke up this morning. Normally these tracks don't really tend to suit our package as much, but I think, you know, the guys and girls at Jaguar have done an incredible job to put together a good car for these for this type of track. So yeah, I wasn't feeling too confident after practice, but yeah, we kind of just kept calm, and the car was really consistent throughout qualifying, which I wasn't really experiencing throughout practice. And I was able to kind of build into it and build my confidence. So yeah, full credit to everyone on the team. It's probably not the track you want to be at pole at, but I'll take it, take the points, and then yeah, we'll obviously focus for the race this afternoon. It's going to be a wild one probably.
A wild one indeed. What is it about Italy? You seem to have had a pole position here before as well.
True. I thought it was maybe just Rome, but let's see at the end of the day of how kind it is to me. But so far, yeah, it's been a good day. Yeah, as I said, a little bit surprising, but obviously very satisfying, and hopefully we can continue this into the race.
Absolutely. Keep up the pace in the race, indeed. I'd now like to welcome Marco Diavololi and Giorgio Butarelli to present you with your pole position trophy. They are both students from ITS Maker.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And the trophy presented there to Mitch Evans, an 8th career pole position. The track 4 silent then as we complete today's action. For qualifying, the race up next as well. Let's go through final thoughts, starting, well, I guess Omi's here. Did you want to give your closing thoughts on that one as well?
A interesting Formula E session. Quite a lot happened. I think we're going to be in for a very interesting race. We've had some good races so far this season, so hopefully we'll get an exciting one. But a good qualifying and a good weekend so far.
Josh T from the pit lane, what about you?
5 words. Sausage curbs need to go. It was a good qualifying session, but they need to go.
I agree. Now, let's come on to the main box and get the thoughts of Ed and Jess. Jess, starting with you. What about you? What did you make of qualifying?
I agree with Josh. Sausage curves need to go, but Vern was looking quick all weekend. But Mitch Evans delivered when he needed to, and a great result, especially after we thought Jaguar was going to be out of it. So good redemption for them. I'm excited about the first race in Misano. Could be anyone's game going in towards turn 1. Hopefully no issue with sausage curbs. I predict we are going to get some safety cars though.
Oh, 100%. I'm on the right track with you there as well. Ed, what about you? What have you made of this quali?
It's been interesting to see, obviously, Formula E on a traditional, in quotes, purpose-built circuit at Misano, and all the different lines people have been taking into corners. I think Evans and Jev probably the 2 standouts, doing really well to get to that final, and Evans in the end just about pipping Jev in the final runs. Yeah, Muller stood out to me as doing a very, very good job in the apt, and I think both McLarens did very well to get into the top 5, but I think come the race, when it turns into an energy efficiency peloton-style race, I think a lot of qualifying is going to be quickly forgotten, and it's going to turn into, I hope not a crash fest, but I think as soon as someone loses their front wing, it's going to go right under the car, and we could see some quite scary moments, certainly. So I'm hoping nothing terrible happens, but it did worry me when Jeff Dodds said, "Oh, Portland was a really exciting race because there was lots of overtakes, so let's go to permanent circuits from now on." It seemed to be his modus operandi when he was talking about Silverstone potentially replacing XL as the sort of UK E-Prix, but that's a whole other thing. Anyway, and as for this, I just hope that it's not quite as 5 wide, 6 wide as Portland, and that we see people keep it clean, and people stay as far away from the sausage curbs as is humanly possible. But like we said, that may not be possible in certain situations. So I think we just got to cross our fingers and hope things work out for the best.
We'll keep an eye out for that race as well. That hopefully it's going to be very good. 28 laps ahead of us as well. We are on air. Our transmission begins as well. 1:30 British Summer Time. So in around about 2 hours and 40 minutes we'll be on air for the E-Prix. Race starts at 2 until 3:30. Straight into that as well. We'll have about a half-hour break. Then Josh T will start the coverage of the MotoGP second practice, and then I'll join halfway through. Thank you, Grand National. It's a one thing. Now, we have certain things in this family that we can't get out of. Christmas, birthdays, Doctor Who, Grand National. Can't get out of those.
Yes.
I can get out of Doctor Who sometimes, but that is because it's that. But I can't get out the Grand National. That's the one thing we all do together. And we all get bets on. So my thanks to you, Ed, for joining us. My thanks to Jess. My thanks to Omi and Josh T in the pits. My thanks to all of you at home. We'll be back then in 2 hours and 40 minutes for all the action for the Misano E-Prix. Bye for now.